what's going on, baby?
Hey, my love, how are you?
Doing pretty good, doing pretty good. It's been a smooth week for me being back at work so far in the new year. Feel like we got enough rest, so I
You
feel like I'm
definitely got a lot of rest.
yeah, yeah. So I feel like I'm just able to be myself, to
Mhm.
belong, and you know, I'm really killing all the meetings that I have to do, plus doing a bunch of stuff, obviously, for the business and for the family. So I feel like I got a good balance going on right now. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's important. I love that Brene Brown quote. She says, "Be you, be here, be long." That's like a mantra I say to myself. But yeah, I'm glad your week is going well so far. We definitely are well rested. Watched a lot of Netflix, ate a lot of good food. So now we're finally just getting back into our habits and getting back into the flow of work. So yeah, I feel
Yeah,
good too.
for sure, for sure. Well, thank you for reserving some time after work to jump on. I wanted to get a conversation going, an organic conversation, just to talk about what we've been seeing, hearing in
Hmm.
these streets, in these internet streets, just in terms of this new year. Because I don't know, I don't know if people is really that hype right now about the new year. I don't know if they have any New Year's resolutions. I don't know. Are you feeling the same? What
Yeah,
you
I feel like this year I didn't see as many like hype posts about the new year. Like sometimes you see like new year, new me, but I think a lot of people are just kind of like 2022 was a lot for them. And so they just trying to make it through just to the other side.
Yeah.
Or maybe they already also could feel like they're just already on the right track. So it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna, new year, same habits. I was doing good last year and I'm just gonna continue on that same track.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Do you think there's more people who are on that wavelength than there is on
Hmm.
the former?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, I feel like I've been seeing more posts about people saying like they're not happy. They're just kind of feeling like they're in a mundane state and they're trying to find their happiness again.
I find that a lot of people are barely hanging on, but are used to making it look as if everything
Putting on
is.
a good face, putting on a smile, showing up, doing what you got to do.
There's friends of mine who are just completely ghost right now, or there's other friends who are doing the best in their lives right now, but they're just distracted and distracting themselves with the fun. And then there are those who are receiving success in their, careers, and they're making it look good and everything, but personally they're telling me that they're going through it. They're stressed out. What's the first reason that comes to mind as to why people might be feeling not as hype about this new year, feeling blah, barely hanging on? It was something
I
that comes
think the
to mind.
first reason that comes to mind is that like progress might seem just too far away. When I think back over my life when like years ago when I was at a job that I wasn't happy, I was trying to get my finances together, I was still living at home, my mom, like progress seemed like it was going to take such a long time, but I couldn't focus on how long it was going to take me because the time is going to pass anyway. I just had to think about, okay, what is the smallest step that I can take in this direction that's going to bring me even one step closer. Because I think that we tend to fall in love with just the results. And if we're not going to get these results until a long time,
Mm-hmm.
it can start to feel like, what's the point of even starting?
Yeah, yeah. Progress takes a long time,
So
right?
yeah, it's just finding the joy in the journey and joy in the everyday, joy in, you have to intentionally create joy for yourself every day.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah, because if your goals are too big and it feels too far away, it's easy to lose that
The momentum.
motivation.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to be it's easy to shame yourself if you're not there by the time that you said you wanted to achieve that thing.
True.
So it's very outcome focused. And when you're very outcome focused, you got all this time between when you said you were going to start it and
Yep.
when you're intending to complete it. But all this time in between, you might not be thinking the best thoughts. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have enough energy. You're not showing up consistently. So you're just giving yourself so much room to feel like a failure. And that increases your chances of quitting. So Yeah, it sounds like what you're implying is that people need to have set smaller goals as well as, well, like smaller milestones in between those big goals, right? So that you have those opportunities to,
To celebrate
appreciate.
yourself and
Yeah.
to just, yeah, you just have to not just fall in love with the end result. Like when I was paying off my debt and I had $39,000 of debt to pay off, like I couldn't just focus on the $39,000 of debt. I had to focus on that the smallest loan that I had. Like, okay, I got this $2,500 loan. Once I pay that off, like that was kind of my primary focus
Mm-hmm.
versus the whole $39,000.
Yeah.
So how
Another
about
reason that comes to mind for me as to why people might be feeling meh about the new year
you?
is especially when I think about myself
Hmm.
being a first gen, just kind of having to do a lot on my own and having a track record in doing that. I think it's very easy to fall into the people pleasing. We've been doing things on our own and we felt misunderstood. So we've always wanted to feel included. We get down the track of, living this life that's not necessarily aligned with who we truly were meant to be.
And so when you say people pleasing, you just mean like just going along with the flow of the crowd, of the people that are closest to you, like doing the things that they're doing just to
Just
sort of
doing, yeah,
fit
just doing whatever you always been doing
in. I
that
see.
hasn't been working. But since everyone else is doing it,
Mm-hmm.
and since no one is talking to you about what they really want to do, or no one's challenging you, you're
Yeah.
just focusing on how to fit in with them and how to mesh in with them. So you're continuing those same actions and behaviors. When you're doing that, you're not spending enough time to value yourself. You don't understand the value that you have or the goals that you have. What's really key to get over that hump is what we preach. It's taking that time in the morning to prioritize yourself, to understand more of who you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Understand more of who you are so that you can empower yourself to begin to own your story, right? And own your destiny and begin to take ownership over these goals that you want to start achieving. We're always thinking that people are going to say something negative about us once we start to go our own way. But I think the more you take that time to understand yourself and empower yourself in your story, the less you'll care about that, right? The less you'll care
Sure.
about people pleasing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are, chasing the approval of others and they're leaving themselves behind.
Did you find yourself people pleasing at a certain point in time in your life?
People pleasing is like a new word that I just like learned. I haven't really heard about it a lot. I just think about it as just like, going with the crowd. I think I used to be a person that always had tea. And like when I had tea, like I feel like I did have more friends because people are like calling you and be like, girl, let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you what he did. Like, when I was single in these dating streets, like I just felt like I was the person that always had tea. And then when I was just like trying to change my life around, I was like, no, I just want to, I want a good man with a good heart and I want to be in a committed relationship. I'm tired of these games. Um, like the more I started going in that direction, I feel like the less tea I had and then kind of the less friends. So I had to kind of build up like a new network of
A new
friends.
network for sure.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was more in alignment with the place that I wanted to be, and
Hmm.
the stories that I wanted to share and the conversations that I wanted to have with these
Yeah.
friends.
So that might could be happening with a lot of people. They still have a lot of friends who like them for who they weren't
Yeah,
even meant to be. Like this
exactly.
person that they've adopted, this personality, this character, these thoughts, beliefs, these things that you do,
Mm-hmm.
taken up at some point because that's just the environment. That's what the environment taught you, and
Exactly.
you didn't have enough strength
Mm-hmm.
and awareness of your own identity and what you who you needed to be in this world. So you built this whole character, and they like it. They like when you built this character because they can recognize it.
Entertaining. Yeah.
Yeah, it's entertaining. It's familiar. But as
Mm-hmm.
soon as you start to venture out and understand who you were really meant to be and start to take those courageous steps and step out into that,
And
that's
start
when those
healing.
people,
Yeah.
yeah, start healing. Those people start to find discomfort in that, and the natural disassociation occurs. But that's when you have to start searching out for your true well, I ain't gonna say true network, but this is like your next level, network. People who have values that are aligned with yours, are going in a direction that you're hoping to go one day, right?
Yeah, true. All right. Well, what's another reason people might be feeling, blah for the new year, and how can they change that?
Um, I would say people don't have a coach.
Mm,
When you think about the backgrounds that we've come from, and we were just talking about how, we were this version of ourselves that may not have, that wasn't in alignment with who we were meant to be. So we have all these friends who like
yep.
us for this way of being that isn't necessarily, conducive to our growth.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of friends who don't pour into us, who don't sit down and have those real conversations with us.
Yep.
Even if you tried to pour into them, that might be uncomfortable for them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I find that people just don't have the right circle. And I think when you have a coach is there who's going to be able to pour into you, who's going to be able to ask you questions that no one has ever asked you. They're going to hold you accountable
Mm-hmm.
to the goals that you have for yourself. A lot of people, they have goals for themselves, but because they don't value themselves enough, they don't they don't have enough people in their lives to kind of continue to reinforce those goals that they have for themselves.
It's easy sometimes to let ourselves down, but like when we have somebody else there,
Yeah,
now it's like, oh, I gotta really show up.
for sure. And you know what's crazy is that for us, we can be pretty loyal, right? We can be pretty trustworthy because you want to help others. So if someone asks us to do something, we're not going to let them down, right? We're going to hold ourselves accountable for not letting them down. But I find that, and probably a lot of people find that you don't even want this person to be able to hold you accountable to your own goals because you don't value your own goals enough in this future version of yourself enough, right? So we have to spend more time taking the time to ourselves, as well as having the right person in our corner to hold us accountable and make sure that we remember how much power we have. We remember our potential. We remember how valuable our lives are and where we want to go is. Right.
That's
So
true.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
people need to be
And
more open to that.
yeah, people need to be more open to having a coach. That's a good point. And just also just knowing that even if they had a bad experience with coaching in the past, because sometimes people have negative thoughts about having a coach.
Yeah.
A coach is not there to tell you what to do. And this is so big for me. Like a coach isn't there to tell me what to do. They are there to hold space for me, and
Mm-hmm.
they're there to help me figure out what path that I want to go on. So it's
Mm.
like if somebody is having a challenge in their life, if they have the challenge, if they're having a problem, they also have the solution,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's within them. So the coach's job is to help them figure out, to help bring out that solution within them and not tell them like this is the path that they should go on because we believe it's the right path. It's like, no, this is the path that we're helping them figure out their own path.
Yeah, that was people trying to take advantage and people who are too egotistic and they need people to follow them and tell people what to do in order for them to feel a sense of wholeness inside. But no, what a real true coach is exactly what you just explained. And that's what happened to me a couple years ago when I first approached my first coach. I came to her and I said, I think you remember, I was in such a dilemma of figuring out whether I should quit my job or whether I should
Mm.
go and start my own, scrum master coaching business or some form of life coaching. I just didn't know what I wanted to do to be more purposeful on a day to day and to make money. And, when we look at our lives, especially as a first generation professional, a lot of the choices that we've made, we kind of look back in them in such a negative light. We kind of look back at them and say, why did I make this decision? Why did I make that decision? How did I end up here? This might not have been the best place. And because of that, it's hard for us to move forward because we just see all these random dots on a canvas and we're like, all these were random choices I made. How can I make sense of this? where am I going to go? But having this coach being able to listen, bounce ideas off of, and look at all of these dots on the canvas from an outside perspective, they were able to see how those dots all connected. And because of that, I was able to draw clarity, understanding, and then shortly after, I began to feel empowered about, wow, my whole story makes sense. And because of this story, now I have a new sense of purpose on who I can help because of this track record that I have, because of everything that I've been through. I can help people that came through similar experiences, help them shorten the journey, right?
Yeah, I love that. Helping them shorten the journey. And that's exactly what, one of my clients said to me after our session. She was like, it's great now that I have this vision and I have a plan to get there. I have a routine on how to actually become this future version of myself.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Any other reasons that come to you as to why people might not be feeling as hyped for the year?
I think lastly, I would say just like their relationship with failure and how they view failure and what failure actually means about themselves.
Mm.
Because it's really about the stories that we tell ourselves about our life. You can either tell ourselves an empowering story and like pick out the lesson that happened to us, or we can just stay in the defeated mindset and just tell ourselves the defeated story about what failure means about us. And now you
Yeah.
don't even want to start again.
Mm.
For example, even when people want to pivot, if they want to pivot into a new career or a new business, they might think that, oh, like something in the past has failed. But really, if you think about failure as just you learn these lessons in life, and no matter what career path or business that you did have, there are lessons that you can extract and use in your
Yeah.
next season.
Mm. Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
true.
it's just really about becoming a lifelong learner.
Mm-hmm.
And just, yeah, extracting the lessons versus seeing as failure as something that, keeps you stuck and is saying something negative about you as a person. We can't make failure our personal identity.
Yeah. And I feel like people don't believe in how powerful starting to think more positively can be for them. Because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's just a thought, you know.
Hmm.
But what do thoughts lead to?
Thoughts become things.
Yeah.
Like everything was started as a thought, this teacup I have here, this water bottle, everything started in somebody's head and then it became a thing. And that's true about we all have that power.
Mm-hmm. So, how could someone start to tackle some of that negative self-talk? What are some of the mechanisms that they could utilize and get back on the right foot?
Yeah, I think first just start paying attention to what is happening within. What thoughts are you thinking about? Because one thought that you think, and then if you think about this thought for like 7 seconds, now another thought like that is going to be attached to that negative thought, and it's going to be in the same kind of direction. So you have
Yeah.
to first be aware of the thoughts that you're thinking.
One way that you could get more aware is meditation, right? We talked a
Oh
little bit
yeah,
about
true.
that.
Meditation,
Yeah.
definitely.
Because a lot of us, we're so, I don't know if we're so aware of how many thoughts we have at all times. And, sometimes we just so unaware of the actual thoughts that we feel the moods and like, I'm feeling this way. Oh, I'm feeling this way. But there may not be aware of how they even got to that point because before an
True.
emotion, before a feeling, it starts
There's
with
a
a ton
thought.
of thoughts that
Mm-hmm.
have, compounded. So
True.
meditation will help you build up that brain muscle to slow down and be aware of what exactly is going through your head at one point. And the better you get at understanding what thoughts are happening and when to stop them and kind of come back to your breath, come back to the present, the
Mm-hmm.
easier I think it'll be for them whenever that negative thought comes, just kind of boot it out their heads, like they have a presentation soon and they're like, well, I don't like my voice. I have a weird voice. I remember back in high school, someone embarrassed me in the hallway because I tried to ask for something and they made fun of my voice. Right. So before you get down that track of all these negative thoughts that reinforce that
Mm-hmm.
you have a terrible voice, you get more used to catching that thought like, I got a bad voice, I got this presentation. No, forget that. I have a great voice, and today I'm going to speak well, and my audience is going to love me. My message is going to be conveyed. I'm going to articulate myself. I'm going to speak with bass. this is what's going to happen. And I believe that it could happen, right? So replacing those thoughts instantly and getting on a pattern and keeping the positive thoughts going, because once you keep that going, you're now feeling much better and much more
Feeling better, yeah. It's
calmer.
definitely a practice. It's gonna take work. It's gonna take time, but
Yeah.
it's worth it. It's worth putting in that effort to slow down, like you said, to meditate, because meditating gives you time to quiet out the noise, everything that's going on. Because sometimes, like you said, you might not even be feeling, knowing why you feel blah, or why you feel stuck in a certain mood, because you've been on Twitter, you seen all these tweets that's trending, then you switch to Instagram, now you watch 20 reels, and now like you had a conversation with some friends or family, like you just had so much going on where you don't even notice like
Mm-hmm.
which thought affected you, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So best become more aware of it so that you can start to change your habits as
Hmm.
well. Because yeah, we're scrolling and looking at so much media all the time and consuming so much information. If you're becoming more aware of how it's making you feel, now you can begin to filter out and unfollow and not look at some of those sources or some of those things that lead you down the wrong track, and instead follow pages and talk to people who will give you more empowering thoughts about yourself and about where you're going.
Yeah, awesome. Sounds good. Sounds like there's lots of takeaways for people on how they can change their blah feeling mood. If they're feeling blah about 2023, we gave y'all some tips on how to change that.
Right. It starts with having a morning routine and considering getting yourself a coach. So if you're open to coaching because you're in a spot where you feel blah about the new year and you really want to tackle that incrementally and enjoy the journey and have someone who's going to hold you accountable and speak power into you, highly recommend you go check out wealthyandrelax.com, where we have a number of different services available. But we have a Wellthy routine package, a Wellthy regimen package, as well as one-on-one coaching. Go ahead and check it out. But appreciate you all for listening. Appreciate you, babe, for jumping on. And
Of course.
yeah, let's cook some dinner soon.
I know, I'm starving. All right, time to eat.
All right.
Bye.